Hello and bienvenue to Life's Questions and Lessons, the Self-Reflection Podcast. I am your host, Charity Youngblood, and I am so grateful that you are here with me today. Let's get started with today's series recap. If you could design your life from scratch, what would it look like? If you could design your life from scratch, what would it look like? So this series is that a word? We covered a lot during this series. Let me use words that I actually know. And typically when we finish out a series, I like to ask you questions like, what did you learn? What surprised you? Taking some time to go back and see what some of your insights were, etc. But I think for this series, what I really wanted to focus on, and of course, if you want to focus on those things as well, do you? But one question that really came to mind as we're closing this out is, what imperfect action did you take during this series? This podcast is very important to me. It kind of serves a dual purpose. For one, it keeps me committed to really doing something that matters, making sure that I'm putting impact work, right? I'm putting something out to the world that's really going to help people along this very long and challenging journey called life. But also, I want to make sure that you're not just asking yourself the right questions and not doing anything with that, right? And during these next kind of few weeks, I'll definitely take some temperature checks and see if you need help in those areas, because I obviously want to make sure this podcast is as helpful as possible. But we haven't really talked about the actual actions. One of the first things that you really can do along this personal growth journey, and to me, the key to any type of decision making, is really grounding yourself in self-reflection, which is asking yourself these questions and exploring your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs around these things, understanding who you are, understanding what season you're in. All of that is kind of encompassed in this work, but we don't talk a lot about what to do with that. And so as you're kind of exploring this question, what imperfect action did you take during this series? If there were actions that you wanted to take, but you didn't, I really encourage you to look at that. A lot of times we have resistance to things and we don't even know why. And one of the biggest, I'd say, sources of liberation and freedom with this work is really understanding why we do what we do or why we don't. And that's definitely something that I feel like if you haven't explored already, it's going to be a whole new world, right? It's going to shine some light. So definitely explore this question in whatever way works best for you. As always, thank you so much for listening. Please rate and review this podcast wherever you are listening to my words. And if this episode and series has been helpful to you, please pass it along. If it was helpful for you, it's probably going to be helpful for someone else. And until next time, take care.